Good morning and welcome to the Diversity Project's webinar on menopause. With today being World Menopause Day, it's the perfect opportunity to launch the Diversity Project's Menopause Best Practice Guide and Pledge, Make the Change. To develop the pledge, we partnered with Lauren Chiran of Women of a Certain Stage, who some of you may have come across in our previous webinars. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat function, which we will cover towards the end of the webinar. I am Monique King, Head of Risk at Julius Baer International and the lead for the Diversity Project's Menopause Workstream. I'm delighted to welcome our two guest speakers today, Helena Morrissey, Chairwoman of the Diversity Project, and David Durlacher, CEO of Julius Baer International and the Advisory Council sponsor of the Menopause Workstream. In today's webinar, we will aim to build on the webinars and resources provided to date, which have been consolidated into the Best Practice Guide and Menopause Pledge. We will also look at how the Menopause Pledge commitments can help drive the change in our industry. So Helena, thank you very much for joining us today. The Menopause Workstream is the newest D&I topic workstream for Diversity Project. Why was it so important to establish the Menopause Workstream, and how does it support the wider goals of the Diversity Project?
Well, thanks, Monique, and it's great to be here. Very important to celebrate and to look forward to doing more, given it's World Menopause Day. So obviously one of the main goals, we have a lot of ambitions within the Diversity Project. We're trying to create more inclusive cultures across investment and savings industry firms, and we are obviously aspiring towards better gender balance as one of our diversity dimensions. And of course, to get to that latter point requires a lot of interventions. We need to attract more women into the industry to start with. We need to make sure that women fulfill their career potential, that they're managed in an inclusive way. There are obviously a lot of cultural barriers that women report. And one of the obvious things is, of course, is that all women will go through menopause at some point in their lives. As you've called out, Monique, 1 in 10 employees is going through it right now, and that's across men and women, as it were. So a lot of people, 128,000 or so each year, will be going actively through menopause. So this is not a nice to have. This is absolutely essential if we are really going to make sure that at that very difficult, for many women anyway, for that difficult period in their lives, they are getting the support they need, that there are policies in place, that people don't, as had previously been assumed, think, oh, they've gone off the game in terms of performance and put some sort of performance management program in place. It's a biological change. It's something that women come through on the other side, and we need to make sure that it's not the unusual firm that offers menopause help, but the norm. So thank you already for a very, very active, it's about a year, isn't it, since we started. It's phenomenal. It seems that you have achieved an awful lot already, putting it all together in this best practice guide, and obviously the pledge that I know David's going to talk about. This will, I hope, translate what's been initially a lot of great work into a plan of action that employers can take forward and do something to help the women in their organisation that are going through this.
Thank you, Helena. And David, you recently participated in the webinar for Menopause for Line Managers and expressed your thoughts on the importance of recognising menopause in the workplace. Why did you decide to become the Advisory Council sponsor of the Menopause Workstream?
I think not just simply because it is a major topic, but it's also because it's a topic that attracts a lot of stigma and a topic that is misunderstood across not just our industry. But as Helena said, 1 in 10 people right now in our industry is going through menopause. And of those, 1 in 10 is likely to leave our industry as a result of the menopause. 9 out of 10 will find that it impacts their work in one way or another. So it is really important that we actually get involved and understand the topic, but also that we make some progress to bringing about change, helping our industry become a more inclusive place where people are encouraged to stay in it and not to leave just because of a stage they go through.
And why should member firms sign up to the pledge? And that's not isolated to member firms. Obviously, others outside of the membership can obviously sign up to DP and the pledge, but why would we really want to encourage our member firms to sign up?
Well, I think that there are a number of key and simple steps that every single firm, no matter how large or how small, can take. And those steps can make a real difference. I would start firstly with having a look at the resources that we have got available on the Diversity Project website. There are some great resources for you, no matter how much you will already know or not. There are seminars involving line manager training. There are seminars that help about understanding well-being, nutrition and exercise. There are seminars that are also supporting men to understand about menopause and so on. There's a huge amount of information that is at your disposal. But there are 4 very simple steps, 4 key pledges that every firm can take that will make a real difference to every person in our industry. Firstly, to create a framework of support. Think about how you can do that through a policy or a guide. Implementing a guide and a policy within your firm can create the framework that line managers and employees can rely on. Secondly, create a provision of care. And there are 3 actions in here that we call out in order to support people. Firstly, to look at the private medical care provision that we give our employees. Often this is not a topic that is included within that private medical care, so review the private medical care that you're able to provide your employees. Secondly, if there is no provision available, provide free access to support, and there are a number of ways in which you can do that. Thirdly, where there isn't good support coming through private medical insurers, challenge those insurers to provide menopause solutions as standard. It shouldn't be a nice to have extra that's tacked on. All private medical insurers should be providing specialist support to our employees. The third main area is create a culture of support within our firms. And there are 4 key actions in here that we're calling on every firm to bring about. Firstly, to provide free training within our firms. And there is a link to that training support, but all employees should receive training so that they understand this topic. It becomes destigmatized. Secondly, we need to make sure that we've got proper training for our line managers, helping our line managers to be able to provide the right support and the right counsel to people within their own teams. Thirdly, we need to make sure that we can identify a menopause champion, at least one person in each of our firms, someone who will lead by example in what they say and amongst their peers, someone who is able to provide a vocal point within our firms. And lastly, to provide refresher training for our mental health first aid. A number of firms in our industry have implemented a mental health first aider program. Let's make sure that each of those people is really well trained so that they understand about menopause. The last area where we're going to encourage firms to get behind is some of the campaigns, the public campaigns that are broader than just our industry. And the first is to see that GPs have mandatory training. What we've found is that there is a lack of training across every single GP. And there are a number of instances where people are going to their GP and not finding the right advice and the right counsel. We need to see a different provision of support for GPs. And the second main public campaign is seeing that menopause is treated as a recognised a protected characteristic under the Equality Act. And that is something that is being debated. It has broad cross-parliamentary support, and we would encourage you to be behind that. The three things that we are really keen to see that every firm therefore does is, firstly, by the 1st of November next year, to review your provision and to make the commitments behind each of these actions. So by the 1st of November, have a look through those commitments and the key actions and discuss those as a management team. Secondly, to implement the first 3 key pledges by the 1st of June 2024. That's plenty of time, and these are not significant actions that are going to divert the strategy of your firms, but they will make a real difference. So by that date in 2024, we are looking for all firms to have signed up to the first 3 key pledges. And then lastly, to track progress through employee surveys and other things, actually see that there is change occurring. It's not just a thing that we do for show and for publicity's sake. It is something that actually makes a difference. So we're encouraging, please, every firm, no matter how large or how small, to get behind these simple actions that will make a real difference for all of our employees.
Thank you both very much for your valuable insights, and to have such esteemed individuals to support this campaign. The workstream is very grateful, so thank you both. I mean, it's
sorry, Monique, I just had one other thought, and that is obviously this whole topic has become, dare I say it, more fashionable in the wider media and social media and so forth. And obviously it's fantastic that there are now, the discussions in Parliament about it. There's endorsement for celebrities, etc. But it's still relatively sort of immature as a workplace issue. And in fact, another survey that I've just seen suggests that only 11% of women going through menopause feel that their employers' menopause policy is adequate, and most 85% don't actually know that there is one or there isn't one at their firm. So this is an opportunity, just to build on what David said, it's an opportunity for us to actually sort of step up and actually get, play a leading role, I think, as employers, as an industry. A lot of areas, I must admit, when it comes to diversity, the investment and savings industry is sort of scrabbling to catch up. But on this one, we, by the actions that David's outlined, for example, if we pressure private medical insurance companies, that will help with provision for all industries. So this is a golden opportunity for us to kind of actually get ahead of things and be leading and show others how it's done. So again, if people, it's not the reason only to do it, it's not about show, it is about changing the dynamic for women going through this in your firm and their line managers, etc., the whole team. But it would be fantastic if everybody could even beat those deadlines that David's talking about, because really there's no time like the present. You've got women going through this right now. So I just wanted to reiterate really the opportunity we have at this stage to sort of get ahead and to really show other industries how it's done for once we can get there first.
Thank you, Helena. And as you say, there is an increased focus to understand the effects of menopause, but there's fundamental evidence to prove that actually minimal action has been taken for people it affects the most, particularly in the workplace. And that is clear from the conclusions of the all-party parliamentary group on menopause. They issued their concluding report on the 12th of October. That will be on our website, so the new web page for menopause, which has been launched today. But some of those sections are quite shocking in the concluding report of how we found individuals going through menopause. And we know the suicide rate of women increases through menopausal age. We lose a lot of women of menopausal age from the workplace, early retirement, etc. So yes, things are being done, but we need to kind of move forward now and urge everyone to take action, including government, etc. So really, therefore, the Diversity Project today launches the pledge to combat many of the issues surrounding menopause and urges the investment and savings industry to really get behind it. To put together the pledge, I mentioned we partnered with Lauren Chiron of Women of a Certain Stage, and there are links within the pledge to the training that Lauren offers. So she actually offers free 3 sessions of basic menopause training. So everybody can sign up to that. Every firm, there's no cost attached. All of their employees can sign up, and that is available and it is in the pledge. Lauren has her own website as well, where you can look at all the training, and she also provides line manager training. We also utilise Lauren for our champions training to really upskill the workstream members. So we all conducted menopause champion training just so that we could really talk to this topic and really be able to pull resources together. So I just wanted to thank Lauren for her partnership on this and supporting us through. And additionally, a thank you to those that participated as authors to put the pledge together. It's a consolidation of a lot of work that you mentioned that we've been doing since we started a year ago. We still have the toolkit to come that will follow the pledge, because I think that's the piece that firms will really need in order to drive this forward. And we can give examples of draft policies or guides. So, you know, workstream members are here to support. Obviously, Lauren's there, and obviously the web page will have a huge amount of information. And I personally would like to thank the workstream for coming together. We have kind of rocketed through this past year with the work that we've done, but I think it just shows the commitment and dedication of everyone to make this change. So thank you. Helena, are there any questions that we need to?
There are not, actually. We've got a couple of things in the chat that point to the resources that we have on the website. So do encourage anybody listening or watching later to look those up. But obviously we can pause and just see if there's any questions people have. This will be, I'm sure, knowing you, Monique and David, there will be follow-up seminars in due course for people to find out more, but there's no questions.
Perfect. Well, we can address any questions that come later in the day. Like you say, this is recorded, so please get in touch with us through the Diversity Project web link. Our details are on there, and we can address any concerns. So thank you all very much for attending today, and thank you, Helena and David, for participating.